Greetings from sacred space at Titania's realm. It's the 13th of November 2025 and the time is 12:05 p.m. and my beautiful Rati has just left for the day, so it's always lovely when she comes to do a bit of cleaning and caretaking of the mama tea. And I was regaling her with lovely stories about yesterday. I had a lovely day yesterday. I went to Capella Bar and I went and had a meal at Costa's, and I think the people that own that restaurant, it's a seafood restaurant, I think they're from South America. I don't know where exactly, but I could tell by the music, and the staff is so friendly and it was just lovely. And I was telling Rati how I just sat and enjoyed my meal in solitude and peace, and it was just really lovely. And then after I went to Capella Bar Produce, and it was very lovely in there too. I met a lovely couple. The man was about 10 years older than me, roundabout. And the wife was from China, and she was, I think, around about in her late 40s, early 50s. And they were so friendly. They were following me around the pet shop. You know, I was looking for, I bought sunflowers and sunflower seeds and mung beans for the birds. So they were taking great interest in what I was looking at and buying, and we were all three of us admiring the birds that they had for sale. They had 3 hand-raised Alexandrines and 2 khaki parrots, Caique. They were very pretty. They were green with bright orange under their wings and around their neck, but they were 2 males and they were $1,200 each. Very expensive birds, but they were all hand raised and they were very friendly. And then there was a larger bird that I don't think was for sale, but was so friendly. But the wife, the Chinese lady, kept poking her fingers at him like really rapidly, and I said, "Oh, don't do that." She said, "Oh, why?" I said, "He'll bite you." And birds find rapid finger movements threatening. She said, "Oh, really?" And I had a massive big beak. I was actually frightened that he might actually bite her. And the husband was amused because he could see I was genuinely worried about her being bitten. And then she followed me around. We looked at the Alexandrines and we started chatting. And I picked the mung beans. And she said to me, "Oh, what are you buying those for?" I said, "Oh, I buy them. I'm going to sprout them for the birds." She said, "Oh, yes, mung bean sprouts are very good for people too." And she looked at me and I nodded, you know. I don't eat sprouts very often, but I might now that I'm going to sprout them for the birds. We'll share in the harvest from that. Last time I gave them to the birds, they didn't like them though, so I just keep trying to give them a variety of things to eat. That bloody turkey's back, chased off the lorikeets, stealing their food. One moment, gotta take it off him. He's had a lot this morning. Look, good boys, why do you keep giving that turkey your food? You need to hold your ground more. Yes, I'll put it here. Maybe they'll come over there. It's a bit close to me, but they might come. I've put it right next to me. So, he's been a real pest this morning, BB. I saw the earlier video I posted. He's been a right little pest. He's been a brat, but you know, he's a wild bird and he's got to do what his wild nature demands, which is to take all the resources and leave nothing for the other birdies. Don't you dare. You've had plenty to eat this morning. No. Up on the other little table next to the bird cages, wondering why I moved the food away from him. letting me know he's not happy, Jan. You're not happy with the mama tea, are you? He's a greedy little bugger though. He keeps taking it all. It's the second lot I've put out for them. He ate the first lot completely. Alright. I'll just wait till he goes off wandering and put it back out for the lorikeets. They're really happy, those lorikeets. They're actually getting quite tame. They're used to me from, you know, when Charlie was alive, and I used to share her food with them even then. And they used to stir Charlie up, something chronic, flirt with her, do all the mating rituals, and Charlie would go, eck, and run to me because she was imprinted on me. My sweet little baby girl, I miss her so much. Oh yes, the other funny thing was the older gentleman was trying to give his Magnum ice block to the Capella producer's own bird that they keep there. He's a wonderful talker, and he's presenting the ice cream to the bird, and the bird's looking quite interested. And I said, don't do that. He said, why? I said, it'll give him diarrhea and then he'll die. And he looked at me and I went, don't ask me how I know this. I was a bit distraught, you know. I was doing all the wrong things by my girl, but she'd survived like that for, you know, quite a long time actually, the last few years, because I used to give her a few treats that she shouldn't really technically have had. I knew not to give her chocolate, you know, I never gave her chocolate, but I didn't realise that the occasional ice cream and yogurt was upsetting her system. Anyway, it will never happen again. I've learnt my lesson, and I'm distraught that I fed my birdie the wrong kinds of things. Now he's taking their water. He's got that whole sand pit that I fill with water for the crows to drink out of with fresh water. He's taking the lorikeets' water just to prove a point. Honestly, he's really, really in the moment, isn't he, lorikeets? So anyway, that couple were really lovely, wanting to befriend me yesterday, and I should have actually said to them, oh, you know, would you like to meet for coffee sometime? But I thought it's weird when you're a single woman wanting to invite couples out, you know, it's just comes across as a bit weird, and I don't want to give the wrong impression. But they were a lovely couple, both of them. They were really quite sweet, and he even joked with me because I said, oh, you know, I bought my birds bigger cages, and I said they're still sulking sitting there sometimes. And then the wife didn't understand what the word sulk meant. So she's smiling at me but looking like she doesn't quite understand. And then the husband said to her, sulking means you're a bit sad and sitting in a cage looking all miserable. And she nodded, and then he looked at me all cheeky smile, and he said, you need to get them some girl birds. And the wife and I looked at each other and we burst out laughing, the three of us. And I said to him, just like a man to think of that. I said, but you're very pragmatic and correct. They probably would be a lot happier if I got them each a mate. And he laughed and ran away. We're a little bit embarrassed that I, you know, acknowledged it. And then he came back and looked at me. And then when I was saying about being bitten, I said, you be careful. I said, because I might bite you too. And then the old guy goes, yeah, I bet she bites too. And I just looked at him. I was like, oh my goodness, he's got my number already. Anyway, he was sweet. He was actually very sweet. Both of them were sweet. And I kind of gently extricated myself because, you know, they were just besotted with me, the two of them. They must have been feeling like making friends or bored or a bit lonely, but they weren't lonely in a, you know, downtrodden way. They were quite happy-go-lucky. Then another lady came with her daughter and we all joined in chatting. It was actually a really lovely experience. And then I went from there to what used to be the Kiwi shop. They, for 20 or I'm not sure how long that business has been there, but I remember all these many years, 20 years, they always sold New Zealand sweets, lollies. I said, where's the Kiwi shop? And the lady, they've extended their saddlery store. She said, oh, we had to give it up. She said the suppliers wouldn't supply us, New Zealand lollies unless we buy pallet loads of, just one kind by the pallet load, like the supermarkets do. And I said, you can't compete with that. That's insane. Who can afford to buy pallet loads, supermarket quantity? She said, I know. And she said, I think they've stopped the supply to a few other independent sellers too. I said, that's just insane. I said, I'm very upset about it. YouTube, tell the suppliers, I'm very upset about it, because we all loved, especially us New Zealanders, to go there to that little shop and buy our New Zealand lollies as a treat and remind us of our childhood. Can't get them very often here now. I know why. The suppliers in New Zealand have ruined it for everyone, not the actual factories, as far as I can tell. It's just greed and corruption to do that. Take away what little bit of simple pleasures we have. And the lady in the shop said we used to buy direct from them. What was actually the problem? Just some idiots ruined it for everyone. So anyway, and then I mentioned, said, I've come to price your saddlery oil. I said I still have a fair bit left, so I'm not ready to buy yet, but I use it to season my spinning wheel. She said, oh, you do spinning? And I said, yes, I'm teaching myself, and at the moment I'm working with alpaca, and I'm adding a bit of fur that I kept from my cat when I used to groom him when he was alive. I kept fur from each of them, I said, which is a bit weird, but I knew I'd do something with it one day. And she just looked at me, and I said, it's coming up a treat actually, I'm quite pleased with it. And she said, oh, we have alpacas here. If you want, we can give you the fleece when they get shorn once a year in August. And I said, oh, really? I said, oh, well, I don't expect you to give it to me for free. I don't mind paying. If it's not too expensive, I'm happy to buy it from you. She says, oh, no, we'd be happy to give it to you. She said, the shearer comes from Goulburn, and he comes at August once a year, and he shears them. And she says, I don't know what he does with the fleece. She said he takes it away with him, probably throws it out. I don't think he'd throw it out though, because there's always somebody that wants to spin fleece. But anyway, she says, if you come back in August when he's due to shear, she said, we'll get you some alpaca from our alpacas. Wasn't that lovely? And she said, one's grey and one's a cream colour. So I went and said hello to them after, the little alpacas, and I was like, keep growing your fur, babies. Mama T. I'm always like a little fairy sprite, like a child. I'm never going to grow up, people of Earth. But anyway, I'm okay with that. So yes, yesterday I was suffused in so much sweetness and kindness, even in the restaurant and at Capalaba Produce. It was actually quite lovely. Really boosted my my mood and my visage and my outlook. Just lovely. Those lorikeets are still sitting above our heads, watching me. I think they think I'm their pet. It's role reversal at Sacred Space. The wild birds think that they're looking after me in some way. They probably are too. I supply the food and the fresh water though, and they supply the observing and studying of the human Mama T as she sits in her garden. They were a bit confused when I got the new birdies because they wondered where Charlie went, but they actually come and visit my Kermie and Bo too, don't they, Bo? He's playing. You're playing. Good boy. Oh, they're very happy to be in the garden. Right, so let us continue. We're 15 minutes and 26 seconds in. We'll continue with reading Elliot Pillman's 7 Types of Ambiguity, and we're up to chapter 18. And who knows, the woman you love may stop loving you. Don't say it's no big thing. It's like the snapping of a green branch to the man inside. It's the same when a man stops loving a woman too, and it is a terrible crashing, crunching snap. I actually heard my heart snap when my marriage completely ended. Not that I was still in love with him or anything like that, been a bastard on and off for years, but you know, when I had that final cognition that this is completely over and I have no choice but to leave, my heart muscle actually made a snapping sound, just like that. A broken branch of the family branch, am I right? I was so astonished when I heard it go that I thought, have I gone a bit mad? Have I actually gone mad? But there was a slight bit of pain associated with it. It's how I know it's true that you can actually die of a broken heart. People have had sudden heart attacks brought on by heartbreak. It's a very cruel thing to go out of your way to make someone's heartstrings literally snap, but people are people and selfish by and large, and they fall in love and they fall out of love, and they're often disloyal and feckless. Not like my little lorikeets who still come and see me even. When did Charlie die? This year, January 24th. 10 months after her death, they still come and watch over me. Loyalty, people of Earth. Birdies can teach you a lot about love and loyalty. Not just the birds, but dogs and cats too. Yes, animals and birds love better than humans. Much, much better. But we won't think about it too much lest I cry and fall in a heap. You can't ask someone to feel more. It's pointless, Alex had once said to me. No, I had agreed. You can only beg her. The first time I hugged her properly, really held her, really squeezed her tight within my arms, I felt an incredible release, unlike anything I had ever known. That's how it started, the addiction. Where the release is great enough, it can capture you and imprison you. Everything will always be more or less surreal after that. Even her leaving was surreal. I think the turkey's gone. I'm going to sneak their food back up on the bench for a moment. There you go, boys. While the turkey's not looking, you have your lorikeet mix. Right. Even her leaving was surreal. Why did she leave all of a sudden? Do you mind if we just talk for a bit before I try to explain anything? Yes, I suppose so. I've never been anywhere like this before. No, I didn't think you had. How are your parents? They're fine, thank you. Your mum came around, but I wasn't there. I know, I heard. You are a teacher? Yes. I read about that little boy, Carlo. Yes, that must have been awful. Yes, it was. I was going to call you, but I'm sorry, That's fine, I understand. You're probably very busy. How's your work? Good, thanks. Busy. Too busy sometimes. Just going to turn this around a little bit. Sometimes I think that this is Simon. This is so weird. Trying to get us in alignment. It's a bit weird too. Better. What exactly is it that you do? What do I do? Let's see. That's a good question. I suppose I'm what's broadly called a management consultant, but that's so, whatever that used to mean. The job has changed so much even in the years I've been doing it. So you work for a firm that recruits people for other firms and counsels people who've lost their jobs? You help people? Yes, but it's more than that now. More than just what you said. There's something I've never understood about that kind of work. What? Well, you said you counsel people who've lost their jobs. Yes, people whose positions have been outsourced or downsized nearly always receive some counselling. I don't do that anymore myself, but yes, that's part of what we do. We're still being observed lovingly by the lorikeets. It's a beautiful day here at Holland Park. Really beautiful day. Not too hot. Light, lovely breeze. Peace and joy and delight. May there be more of it, people of Earth, every day and every way. Peace and joy and delight, even though I'm reading quite often dark stories. But you're paid by the employer, right? Not by the freshly out of work. Yes, their employer, former employer, pays us for the counselling. That's the bit I don't understand. Why would the employer pay you to do that? That person has left them, obviously. Otherwise you wouldn't be seeing them. Well, you might say it's out of a sense of corporate responsibility. What, a kind of corporate pastoral care, do you mean? Yes, in a way. Of course, it's not entirely altruistic. No, I don't think so, but how does the employer benefit at all? Well, they don't want the employee bad-mouthing the firm around town. No, but you can't prevent that. No, you can't prevent it completely, but you can try to. I don't know. Head it off at the pass? How do you do that? You point out to them gently, the ways in which it might not be all the firm's fault that things have turned out the way they have. You mean you implicate the economy? Yes, that and the role they played themselves. Not everybody gets outsourced or downsized. Get them to ask themselves if they were really meeting their goals, earning their pay. Was there really any synergy between their personal style and the culture of the firm? This is so weird. These firms you deal with would all have different cultures, I suppose. Yes, sure, but they all value success. Success is a core value of any corporate culture, any successful one, but I don't do that sort of work anymore, which is a bit of a relief. What do you do now? All sorts of things. Like what? Well, for example, we just ran a series of 2-day workshops at some of the major accounting firms to demonstrate to their staff how to turn social occasions into marketing opportunities, how to turn friends into clients. I find that venal. I hate forcing myself on people, getting them to buy things from me. It's why I'm not successful, obviously. But I find it venal and dishonest. It's why I always hated pyramid selling, or those, what are they called? LCMs or marketing schemes, or find it vile and venal. It's always made my skin crawl. Even as a young, teenager, they're always pushing Avon or Amway or some other fucking thing. Bring your friends and let's have parties and vile. And those awful lingerie parties. Don't get me started on any of that. Grotesque. And people that always wanted to invite me to that, I'd say, if you wish to remain my friend, don't invite me to your networking schemes. But I need to make money. I went, yes, we all need to make money, but there are ways and means of making money without torturing all your friends. They just look at me and blink a few times. Hadn't occurred to them that it's a form of venality and kind of torture when your friendship is predicated on how much money you have and what you buy from them and how many other people you can bring into it to sell to them too, and feasting like carrion of other people's, consciences and approbation and wealth. I never force myself on people. If you want to spend time with me, you'll call me. Let's hang out, Tanya. Let's do nice things together. And if you want, me to make a piece of jewellery, well, I made jewellery as gifts for friends, and some of them don't even wear them. It grinds my gears. And my beautiful Belinda was my first commissioned piece the other day. And people know if they want something, all they have to do is ask, and if it's feasible that I can produce the product, then I will produce it, and if it's not, I'll politely say no. But there's no pressure or no contract signed in blood with people. I just won't do that. Won't do it. I don't fit into your corporate world, people of Earth, of marketing and grasping for every penny and violating to get up the social and economic ladder. I can't bring myself to do it. It causes me to have breakdowns. It's been like that ever since I lost my business and got strangled. But even in my business, which I had a successful business with my then husband, it was it was a chicken rotisserie takeaway shop. So people came to me because they were hungry and they want to eat. And I supplied them food because that was my business. But I never forced my products on anyone, you know. At that time, in the early 90s, we bought the business in 1990. You know, the marketing strategy like McDonald's and KFC was, do you want fries with that? Do you want to upsize? I still hate when I go to a food shop and they go, do you want to upsize? If I want a fucking upsize meal, I'll ask for it. I hate that marketing strategy. Obviously it worked well for the big food, you know, fast food companies, because they have billions and billions and billions of stores in every corner of the known Western world, but I just won't do it, won't subscribe to that. I gave good quality food and I gave good quantities of food because I figure people come back when you get good quantities of food that's, you know, satisfying. When you buy food, you want to be satiated and satisfied, people of Earth. So, you know, it was a good little business, and it went bad through no fault of my own, actually. But when my marriage broke down, I was driven out of it and driven into poverty. And so I have my own set ideas about how I like to prosper, and I prefer to prosper by not exploiting other people or being venal or dragging them into some kind of marketing scheme. And you want to buy from me, you say, I like that, how much is it? Give them the price. They buy it or they don't buy it. It's no skin of my nose. But I'm in a kind of oddly a position of privilege in that I exist on the disability pension, so I don't have to hustle or hassle or harass people to get my daily bread and my rent paid and a roof over my head. So I've been very protected and blessed, but only because of the times when I wasn't protected and I wasn't blessed, and it's taken me 60 years to get back up on my feet again. So there is that, people of Earth. Right. We try to get them to exploit their emotional intelligence, get them to see that their address books could be among their biggest assets. Simon, this is so weird. I feel so strange talking to you like this. Nervous. We generally help professionals target other professionals in relevant markets. You do what? It's about professionals, placing them, targeting them. We fragmentize the market for them. And Anna, do you hear yourself? What? Do you hear the way you talk? Do you feel anything when the words come out, or are you on automatic spitting out this shit? And it is shit, and it's a shitful way to earn a living, and I would not be able to do it because it would not align with my values. There's a lot of things I won't do because it won't align with my values, people of Earth. Smallest violin. Diddly, 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 diddly. Meanwhile, I do the wild mosh and I dance for my musician friends because I enjoy the music and the dancing. And, you know, I sit in my garden with my wild friends up there still watching over me. Only one's left now, the other one's gone off somewhere. One's sleeping. Oh no, there he is. His mate's still there, she's just tucked behind the branches. And I read stories on YouTube, and occasionally I make nice pieces of jewellery, and other creative pursuits. So, you know what? I have a fabulous life for all my complaining. I'm like bleary-eyed and bags under my eyes because my bladder acted out last night. It was up 4 times, peeing large volumes, and got very little sleep, and I'm knackered, but it's a gorgeous day and I'm alive against all the odds, and I've got every reason to be happy, choosing happiness, even though my health's as it has always been, like a hurdy-gurdy ride, swings and roundabouts. Right. What are you talking about? Everything. Where do I start? With the powerful lure of the suffix "eyes", maybe? Fragmentize? Simon, what is it? What's your problem? I know you're criticising my... Is criticise okay with you? Is it what I do or how I describe what I do? Fragmentize. It's a word. People use it. Jesus, this is so surreal. People might use it, but it's ugly. Why not fragment? Look at the people who use it. If people use it often enough, it's right. It becomes part of the language. Language is dynamic. You know that. If the wrong thing is done often enough by enough people, it becomes right. I'm not saying that. It's not wrong. It's a word. You knew what I meant. Listen, why are you pulling out all your feathers, Snooks? I'm watching these little feathers float by and I look up and Bo's scratching. I think he's quilling and doing a bit of a molt, and so is the other one. Quilling and molting. Right. Anna, that's not how we were taught. It's the way it is now. It's how I speak. You would never have said any of that when we were us. I wasn't working then. You wouldn't have willfully missed the point when we were... Simon, I don't know anyone like the people we used to be. We were students then. When people say, we were students then, I'm never sure whether they're attempting to excuse the way they were then or the way they are now. Perhaps they mean, we were students then. It was easier to care about doing the right thing. Simon, caring about the right thing is easy. But what do students ever really do about it? What are they meant to do? They're students. To really change the world for the better, they have to wait until they're grown up enough to marry a stockbroker. Simon, I didn't come here to be lectured at or preached to. No. Why did you come here? I came here to find out why you did what you did. I did it to get you to come here. Why was I doing this? It was as though I were two people, one angry and itching for a fight over anything, no matter how petty or how little it had to do with her, and the other just sitting opposite her in the visit centre, listening incredulously to the first guy and unable to stop him. I had never thought to rehearse this conversation. As much as I had wanted her to come, rehearsing it had always seemed too humiliatingly futile, even to me. I had rehearsed only the outcome, the one in which she saves me. Just going to get some more water, people of Earth. She was right. It was incredibly surreal. We had not seen each other for 10 years, yet all I could do was to bicker with her while several feet away convicted murderers talked calmly of their loved ones. I heard my rant continue without knowing what had got me started. I think I was attacking the power of the stock market over the lives of ordinary people. Something like that. Attacking her husband and attacking her for marrying him and for everything else. They're slaves to the vagaries of a global casino which has no commitment whatsoever to or any notion of the common good. Do you do what other people with these views do? Demonstrate, join groups, picket the WEF or the WTO or whoever? Anna, you have become one of those people who expect everybody to do what other people are doing. Even in protests you want uniformity. Well, I can't march in the street, one of 10 abreast shouting in unison with a fist in the air. It's like that line in Kundera. Kundera? That's so 80s. No, Christ, no. Kundera, whether you like him or not, whether you liked him then but no longer do. You cannot say Kundera was the 80s. Steinbeck wasn't the 30s and Dickens wasn't the 1800s. They were of their times, but for the ages. Their writings are not products marketed for a brief time until they're out of vogue and discarded on the scrap heap. They're not silver scooters or hula hoops, slinkies, Rubik cubes or breast implants. They're not trivial pursuits to be enjoyed when you think you need something new and amusing to fill the emptiness of your pointless job and your sham of a marriage. Listen to you. Are you so crazy that you're angry at absolutely every institution going? On a good day? Yes, I hear you, brother. High five on that one. Post-Covidian epoch. It pays to be crazy enough to be angry at every motherfucking anti-humanist institution there is, was, and if you allow it to continue, will always be. Simon, when did you get so angry? Anna, you're one of the few people I know who knew me when I wasn't angry. In fact, you're one of the few people I know. You're angry with yourself, and if I were you, I would be too. You had everything going for you, and you blew it. Anna, What exactly does it mean to blow it? Have you blown it if you do anything, pardon me, for a living other than convince people that it was their fault they lost their job, or that their friends are really clients or consumers in disguise? Is it possible to live a fulfilling life by doing something other than persuading people to gamble on shares in certain companies you really know nothing about? Yes, it's fucking shallow, isn't it? He's right. It's utterly venal and shallow. I just lost half of my audience, you understand, but bye-bye. Jesus, Simon, you can't take my son, for God's sake, and still claim some sort of moral superiority. No, I can. I don't know. Maybe it's a male thing, but you have more in common with my husband than you could possibly know. You? What? We have years of you in common. Not just me, it seems. Yes, I'm sorry. I wasn't thinking of. You know her very well, and it seems so does he. I can't think of her name right now. Angela. Her name is Angela. And I had nothing to do with her seeing. What do I care what her fucking name is? She's the whore that you both... It's absolutely unbelievable. A whore. Anna, get it straight. Her name is Angela. She's my friend, and she's Joe's prostitute. To support herself, she sleeps with many men, one at a time, for short periods in return for relatively small amounts of money. You, on the other hand, agree to sleep with one man repeatedly, indefinitely, for a huge sum. Common interests, humour, shared worldviews, compatibility of temperament, affection, respect. They're not part of the equation for either of you. You both made compromises, but you feel better attributing immorality to hers. Would I really hang myself to win an argument? That wouldn't be very clever, and I am so clever. Too clever for words. Too angry to even have access to them. I can kill with them at 20 paces. She had her head in her hands. I thought that perhaps she was crying. My little birdie boys are still here. You gonna eat your food, birdie boys? Are you well satiated? Happy birds. You're all very happy birds today. Mama T's happy that you're happy. Anna, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. She lifted her head up. There were tears. Simon, you've ruined everything for me. Why would you want to do that? What have I ruined? You took my son, for God's sake. Let's be very clear about this. I picked him up from school. I gave him some chocolate milk and he had a sleep. He was never in any danger. You know that. It was wrong, a stupid, insane way to get your attention. But I took good care of him. You've ruined my marriage. I didn't, Anna. You know I didn't. I simply shone a spotlight on two unhappy people going through the motions. What right have you got to interfere in my life? You're in no position. What would you know? How can you even begin to? Anna. Joe went to see Angela about once a week. It wasn't me that sent him there. I'm getting sunburnt, people of Earth. We'll have to move out of the sun. How am I going to do that? We need more shade. More shade, more shade. Oh, fuck it. I've probably been burnt since this morning. Get over myself and just turn into a little potato chip. Crunch. But I hate skin doctors and they hate me. All doctors hate me, except for my wonderful urologist who I'm not seeing anymore because I don't want the Botox. It's not her fault. It's not her, it's me. But she doesn't hate me. She's an exception to the rule. She's a lovely, wonderful woman. And my psychiatrist doesn't hate me. Anyway, where were we? Turning into a burnt little writhing piece of skin cancer as we speak. I should take it more seriously, I really should. Now I feel guilty that I don't take certain things seriously. It's a form of self-harming, isn't it? But it's such a beautiful day. Let me just enjoy one beautiful day without fear and atrophy and being ridiculously hard on myself. Right, where were we? It wasn't me that sent him there. You can't possibly. I'm glad you still wear the bracelet. You got it fixed. What? Yes, he was able to. This is too weird. Did you have my house bugged? No. You had it fixed by the jeweler I bought it from. That's how I found out. Found out what? About your affair. I'm not having an affair. Anna, I know you are. But I'm not. Then you were. I wasn't. Anyway, it's none of your business. That's true. That's my real problem, the one that led me here. But still what? Someone, a man, not Joe, picked up the bracelet for you. It might have been my father. Might have been, but it wasn't. That doesn't mean I'm having an affair. No, it doesn't. Not of itself. Neither of us spoke. She looked around the room, the visit centre at Port Phillip Prison. I've been to Port Phillip as a child. It's where the fairy penguins come to their nest. It's lovely. Turned away from me as she was. I couldn't see her face, but I knew she was crying. There had been that weekend away at my parents' place in Sorrento. Then she was gone. It was over. For years I mentally revisited those last 48 hours, looking for what it was I must have said or done. It was only later that I turned to trawling my memory for evidence that she had already decided some time before then to leave me, as was bound to happen. The images in my mind of what happened that weekend degraded with time. The light, the colours, the sounds of those 2 days faded until now I see clearly only the pathology of my concern with why she left me. She sat there crying, not for me and my mistakes, but for hers, for her life exposed indelibly, painfully before her, a life that had got away from her. How far was this, as I sat there in my prison uniform, afraid, unable to touch her, from the hypnagogic idyllic from the hypnagogic idyll, which sounds weird with my New Zealand accent, that I should say that had been my home for about 10 years. You know, she said, and by this time I could not stem my own tears, I often thought of you, thought well of you. Your view of the world was like the glasses through which I looked at things, the papers, work. I wonder what Simon would say about that, I'd think. Now I have to see you like this. What the hell happened to you? I don't even know why I agreed to come. It was emotional blackmail. Probably your idea. What? I thought so well of you. What was my idea? Your psychiatrist said he thought you were suicidal. You would have known I wouldn't want that on my conscience. You know we had the media camped outside our house. He's my son. She got up to leave. Go and fuck yourself, Simon. She turned and started walking. Forget me. Oh, no, sorry. Skipped a line. Anna, he is your son. Please listen to me. About him, forget me. To hell with me. Don't leave before we've talked about Sam. I'm a teacher. I know a little about kids. She turned around and stopped where she stood. Please, Anna, sit down. I can't shout in here. I don't want to have this conversation in public. She walked back slowly and sat down, and I started talking for my life. You used to know me. Assume I deserve all of this, and that it's due to my arrogance, vanity, egocentricity, stupidity, criminality, if you like. Assume mental illness brought out by God knows what. Assume we never meant much to each other, me to you anyway. Assume that I was just a page you quickly turned in a book you probably wish you could exchange, probably thought you had exchanged. Accept that whatever is going on between you and your husband is none of my business, and that I don't even know the half of it. But do not assume that the years of coldness between you and your husband, the years of silences, the nearly total absence of animated, amicable adult interaction, do not assume this leaves your son untouched. Laura gets back to the feed. There was a man. Shh. It's none of my business. It's Sam's business. This man, he might be the man you should be with. Is he a father? What kind of father is he? What kind of stepfather would he be to Sam? Shh! Don't say anything. None of my business. But you must have thought about all of this. And Sam? What kind of man would you like him to become? You must have had something in mind when you decided to have a child? You didn't have him for nothing. He's a human being, not a whim. Was it to have someone to look after you in old age, or was it simply to ensure the temporal extension of yourself in lieu of immortality? Or was it to have a friend, a real friend in a not very friendly world? How tragic is it when the distance between you and him is born and starts to grow? Is it now? Is this the time of the gestation of that wretched day when you realise that you don't recognise him? How did your little boy become this man? He's grown cold, sullen, disaffected. Sorry, sounds familiar. At first it was an act, a pose in early adolescence, a defence, a barrier against the world. And now he really is alienated. Does he ever feel anything deeply, strongly? And would you know if he did? You can't remember the last time he thought of you without being begged, bribed, or threatened. You don't even know if he's happy. He's innately bright, but nothing and no one ever fostered his intellect or even his curiosity. So he just uses his intelligence as a weapon against others, against himself. But then, what did you offer him as a child? There was lip service to parenting fads, and many of the traditional values were mentioned occasionally, but what did he actually see? He saw space, filled at times by absentee parents, flitting like ghosts around the pauses between the arguments. Saw his parents' lovers, maybe, or traces of them, more or less distinct, and a domestic helper, a refugee from the latest country to reap the benefits of globalization. Maybe the housekeeper is the most consistently available adult in his childhood world. No, don't rely on her. He'll forget her just as quickly as he will forget the few words she taught him of her native language. What does he see? He sees his parents straining, striving to never have to rely on any other person. He'll deduce that it's because grown-ups have figured out that it's a cold and lonely place out there, that each of us is on our own, and that no one but a fool ever genuinely does anything for anyone without expecting something in return. And if you're looking for something in return, why not see to it that you get back a little more than you gave? Oh dear Goddess. One day, when he no longer is, if he ever was, the fastest gun on the block, or on any block, not anymore. And the wind has blown so much of the detritus of the times over the street where he lives, over where he lives and over where he was born. One day when his muscles ache When his energy has ebbed, he will find himself trying to remember his parents. He will want to remember them. He should be able to remember them. He's not that old, and, after all, he was there when, in their separate and conflicted ways, they pursued what was missing in their lives, missing in their home. They didn't mean any harm. They possibly meant well. He will want to remember them as he lies there, still and cold, but he won't be able to. So now you're telling me how to save my son? I've saved him once already. What are you talking about? Oh, here comes BB. Straight for the lorikeet mix. Straight in. Oh, he's diabolical. One moment. Now look here, you diabolical bird. Go on. Shoot. Shoot, shoot. You gotta laugh. He's determined. He's a success. He'd be a pyramid scheme manager if he had half a chance. Dear goddess. He'd end up turkey dinner. He really would. You'll end up turkey dinner one day. No, he won't. I never kill things that I love. Unfortunately, some of them deserve to be killed, quite frankly, but there is that. Well, never mind. I've saved him once already. What are you talking about? Anna, he was drowning once. What? In your backyard swimming pool. He fell in wearing his school clothes. It was a hot summer day. I was there. I pulled him out. He was panicking. I gave him, yes, don't you dare, Bert. I gave him, yes, that's right. Your psychiatrist told me about this. He said you'd tell me this. I don't believe you. Ask him. Ask him, Anna. Ask Sam about the time the gardener rescued him from the pool. He was frightened. He'll remember. How come I didn't know about this? I don't know. He dried off in the sun before you came home. Your housekeeper missed it. What are you doing, bird? Joe wasn't home. I won't be there to rescue him next time. Maybe you'll save him. You can save him now. Chapter 19. It's a very short chapter, so I'll just do one more chapter and then I'll quit for the day. Beautiful people of planet Earth. It is necessary in cross-examination to put to another party's witness all contrary facts to be alleged and inferences to be drawn in opposition to that witness's evidence. It's required both as a matter of fairness and to ensure for the trier of fact that the opposing cases are factually anchored to each other and are not permitted to float past one another like ships in the night. This requirement, Gina explained, is known as the rule in Brown versus Dunn. It means that, despite the burden of proof being on the prosecution at the trial, Gina would not be able to stay silent about my relationship with Anna until the end, when she addressed the jury. She would have to give Anna the opportunity to deny it in cross-examination. There's no way out of it, Gina told me. she'll deny it. I know, but we'll be ready for that. We'll stress the intensity of your relationship with her when you were students, and all the reasons she has to deny the illicit, reborn relationship as against your lack of any conceivable reason, other than her request to pick up her son from school. We've also got the fact of her recent visit to you here. It suggests some ongoing emotional involvement with you. What about Angelique? Sorry, Angela? Surely this rule applies to her, assuming she's still treated as a hostile witness. And can't the fact of her visiting me here be used against her, against me? You're right, but they're not calling her. Why not? Don't they trust her after the committal? Maybe it's partly that, but also, didn't Alex tell you? Tell me what? Simon, I'm sorry. I thought she's been in an accident. Alex had been keeping it from me. He said he knew it would distress me, and since there was nothing I could do to help her, he hadn't told me. As it was, he knew very little about it. He had been unable to contact her. He couldn't even tell me how she knew. Had she become a patient of yours? No. Were you seeing her? Simon, I can't believe you're asking me that. Do you think I'd say something to Gina? I wouldn't. Simon, you're upset and you're being ridiculous. Is Kelly a patient? Kelly? Her roommate? No, she's not a patient, and I'm not seeing her either. But a patient told you about her accident, right? Come on, Alex. Yes. A man? I've told you everything. It's Joe Gerety. Joe Gerety, isn't it? I'm still struggling with that one. No one would tell me what had happened to her. If Alex had kept the fact of the accident from me, maybe he was now hiding the details. Perhaps he did know the extent of her injuries and just wasn't telling me. I called her home for the first time since my arrest, but the line had been disconnected. I lay awake wondering what had happened to my brave young friend. What risk had she taken now? I owed her an apology and more. I owed her an explanation and, for the sake of parity, many, many attempts to save her life. At least I consoled myself. I had not been the cause of whatever had happened to her. Thus concludes chapter 19, and I'll be back tomorrow, no doubt, with chapter 20. So enjoy this beautiful, magical, sunshiny, sun-scathingly burny day, and as always, never let the bastards grind you down and live your best lives. Bye for now, people of Earth.